Play ball! Blue 22!
You are watching Sports and Sorts live on YouTube. That's 75% sports, 25% sorts. And here are your hosts, Shane and the Bry Man.
Yeah, buddy, we are back. It is a Monday morning. It is June 14th. Holy crap, it's June 14th. The kids are almost out of school. Are your kids out of school yet? You got what, like
Friday?
Friday?
Yeah.
My kids are out, no longer in school as of Thursday. Their last half day is Wednesday, which is going to put a serious dent in my golf time. I'm gonna take them. My routine is usually I golf on Monday, play 9 holes. I golf on Tuesday in my league, and then I try and play somewhere between 9 and 18 holes another day during the week. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that second 9 or 18, but I'm planning on taking them with me on Mondays from now on, and they are gonna come along, and they can choose to play or they can choose not to play.
You need to save a few trips for me still.
Oh yeah.
I'm only at 2. I've only played twice this year. The goal is 5 this summer. So
if we can plan it and I can have like a little bit of time, I can usually arrange some childcare. But I just don't want to I can't my in-laws are great people. They help out a ton with my kids, and they're in their retirement. I want them to have fun. And I know part of their fun is wanting to hang out with our kids. They really like it. They really enjoy it. But you don't want to you can't take advantage of it. You just gotta, they're available. Kids want to see them. My kids love them so much. It's the bond between a child and their grandparent isn't always the best. And they have it where my son, who is 13, still wants to go over their house, hang out, sleep over there, and, go play golf with them and all that kind of stuff. He's and even my daughter's the same way. She's so excited to be able to go sleep over there again. As soon as the vaccine, because they're both vaccinated.
Yeah.
My son's vaccinated, which he'll be officially fully vaccinated, I think next weekend, next Saturday.
Now, did he have any issues from the vaccine?
Nope, just the sore arm. But other than that, he was fine.
And none of that scary heart stuff, right?
Nope. And, he's still in that window. No, he has nothing that's been as of yet. Yep. So everything's going well so far.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get the girls. Basically, by mid-July, we want to do it. We were just keeping an eye on plus now Moderna's vaccine is going to come out too for the kids. So we'll have a choice.
Yep.
But we were just, because I know Pfizer had that weird little issue with kids in Connecticut. There were 18 kids in Connecticut who had that myocarditis or whatever it is. Yeah,
that's what my daughter had.
Yeah, right. So,
Not because of COVID, but that's just
right.
Yeah.
But so as you know, heart stuff's scary.
Yes,
anything in the heart and the brain are scary. Yeah. So, we were just keeping an eye on it. But they're getting vaccinated. They have to go back to school next year.
There was some
there's
good
not going to be
stuff
distance
that came
learning.
Out with Novavax too.
Oh
Novavax came out with a vaccine. It's a little bit different the way that they approach it, and it's all a lot of great things across the board. So.
Is it organic? It's all natural and organic. No GMOs.
They just use a different kind of protein, I think. So, but anyway, this is our show today. This is our show today. We're talking about vaccines. No,
see the moss get caught in the sap.
We have a lot to talk about today, and you going to the Jurassic Park? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I don't know why. You just started talking about proteins, and all I could think about was that stupid video in Jurassic Park where they're in the, and they're showing them the whole thing of how they create the dinosaur. Voila, dinosaurs!
All right, so we have a lot to talk about today. Some sports, some sorts. One of the topics is today: do we blow up the Yankees? Should the Yankees be blown up? We will get into that. We'll talk about a little Karen episode that I had at a package store about a week ago. Actually, tomorrow will be a week today, a week ago perfectly. And then we'll get into UFOs, some declassified stuff. The Brian Man had on there. He said he put it over there, and I was like, "Oh, this is right up the Brian Man's alley here. We got to talk about this." So we'll get into that, and then we'll also get into the Rotten Tomatoes game. I'm sure we'll get into some other stuff. If you have any questions or comments or anything that you want us to talk about, go ahead and put it in the comments. We'll touch on it.
I will also have a quick Loki review.
Oh, I watched Loki the first episode as well.
I watched the first episode, so I'll give a quick.
That. I'll put that on the old board here.
Yeah, I included it in my.
And then, of course, we'll spin the wheel of destiny. And I am one of your hosts. My name is Shane Moore, and you can find me on Twitter at @einhorderstinkle.
I'm the Brian Man. You can find me on Twitter at @the_Bri_man.
And you can find the show at Shane and Brian Man. Okay, let's get into it. We have some stuff to talk about. The first topic here is going to be let's get right in to baseball. We're going to start off with baseball with
the state of the Yankees.
You know that State of the Yankees thing we do with that Bob Shepard voice? Bob Shepard is rolling into his grave right now watching this team.
The State of the Yankees. So they so I think I want you to lead off first here. And the reason why I'm going to say I want you to lead off, because I want to see what your take is on, because I think we're probably in a similar boat. You're probably going to take a more brash approach to this. But I would like to hear your take, because I have no idea what you're going to say about blowing up the Yankees. So give me some bullet points here, and let me know what you want to say about the Yankees.
Let me start with this tweet that I put out yesterday. So this was during.
Maybe, while you're doing this, I'll put a tweet out. Should the Yankees team be blown up? Yes or no?
You can even put the word "literally" in there.
Literally.
Should they literally be blown up? I mean, you can make a case.
Okay.
All right. So I put this tweet out yesterday. Okay. They fuck you with the cell phones. Yeah, you get it. Whatever Leo wants, Leo gets. You get it? Get it? Yeah. Thanks, Leo. Okay. All right. So yesterday I put this tweet out. This was like midway during yesterday's 7-0 debacle against the Phillies. I tweeted, "I've lived through bad Yankees teams, hideous Yankees teams, and even teams that made me want to puke at the sight of them taking the field. This team, however, is on a different level. They're the most unwatchable, and here's the most important part, poorly constructed unit I've ever seen. #fire Cashman, #fire Boone." Okay. This Yankees team is now what, 1 or 2 games above 500. So they are at we are actually past the 1/3 pole of the season now. We're over 60 games in. This is a 500 team. And they're not even like a fun 500. I mean, there have been Yankee teams that have been at or under 500 where I've at least enjoyed watching them play because they were young and you could see maybe the nucleus of something. I don't see a nucleus on this team. And I all I see is a team that has underachieved, underperformed, has had injuries as usual. Christ, Luis Severino, who was rehabbing, I guess hurt his groin in a rehab start. So God knows how much longer that'll set him back. And to be honest, does it even matter? I mean, this Yankee team's not going anywhere. Let's be honest. I mean, they're a 4th place team right now. They're a 4th place team 60 games into the season. They're not going to go on some streak where they win 18 out of 20 games. This team does not have that in them. Every time you even get a glimmer or a sliver of, I don't even want to say hope, but even if they give you some inkling that they might be turning it around, then they lose a game that they shouldn't. And so case in point, they went into Minnesota. They won the first 2 games, doing what they do to the Twins, beating the Twins. Then that last game, they're up 5-3 in the 9th. Chapman comes in and blows it, and they lose 7-5. And that is kind of, I think, a microcosm of their season. 1 step forward, 2 steps back. And here you are at this 500 team. And Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman, I think both need to fall on a sword here, not just one of them. Because let's be honest, the head of the snake to me is really Cashman. Well, it's really Hal Steinbrenner, but you can't replace the owner. So the head of the snake here is Brian Cashman. He has, since 1998, has won one championship. I mean, okay, I know he gets credit for a couple of the others as general manager because he was the GM at the time, but those teams were constructed before him by, I mean, even Buck Showalter had a hand in those teams. Bob Watson was the general manager. Stick Michael had a big hand in those teams, and Joe Torre was at the helm. The only championship that Brian Cashman gets credit for is 2009. And it's been a long time since 2009. If you're a Yankee fan, that is an unacceptable amount of time to go without a championship. Sorry, it just is. That's who we are. It's in our DNA. Winning is in the Yankees DNA. And if you go over a decade without winning, it's unacceptable. It's just, that's the way it is. When you are a Yankee fan, that's what you're born into. And what bothers me is I frequently see Aaron Boone get outmanaged on, God, it's like almost I swear it's like watching him manage against some of these other managers. It's just kind of embarrassing. Like I understand he grew up in baseball, but I want to keep going back to a point with Aaron Boone that I've made before. Aaron Boone grew up in the game. Yes, by osmosis, and he played the game, and because with his father, with his brother. I mean, he's a multi-generational, baseball family here. Mm-hmm. But the problem is, prior to this, Aaron Boone had never performed any level of coaching anywhere. How do you hire a guy? How do you give the keys to the biggest, best, baddest, most ultimate Cadillac around to a guy with zero managing experience? He hadn't even been a third base coach. I mean, for Christ's sake. How do you do that? How do you hand the reins of this stallion to a guy who'd never been on a horse before? I'm sorry. Dude, think of it in this way. Imagine it this way. Let's stick with the horse analogy, okay? Would Bob Baffert, maybe we should be talking about Bob Baffert right now. Would he put a jockey on a horse that had never raced in the Kentucky Derby? Would he put that guy on a horse?
Yes.
No.
But he put steroids in that horse.
He put steroids in the horse. You're right. That's why I was trying to avoid Bob Baffert. But he's the only horse trainer I could think of. So
would Lance Armstrong get on a bike with flat tires?
Maybe that might be a good analogy. Sure. Say that like that's like a Derek Zoolander or something. That sounds like something Derek Zoolander said. If you apply Derek Zoolander voice to that, it gets even funnier. But seriously, like you handed over the keys to the Lamborghini to a guy who had only driven a Jetta his whole life. Just I don't understand.
He's a teenage white girl.
Right, exactly. And Brian Cashman, listen. Brian Cashman there are some moves that he makes that are good. He's really good at the under the radar moves. The guys like Gio Urshela, who's a perfect example of a scrap heap pickup, like a Scott Brocious kind of move that just works out, right? Like he's brilliant at those kind of moves. Where he lacks and where he falters, and unfortunately, these are the ones that are a little more paramount because they tie up so much salary, is with the big ticket items. That's where he struggles mightily. Case in point, obviously, Giancarlo Stanton, who, I don't hate John. I don't think you and I hate Giancarlo Stanton. We certainly don't dislike, although the A-Rod parallel is fairly obvious. We don't hate him like A-Rod because, to our knowledge, he's not a cheater. Right. And also, he's a much more likable guy.
He seems like
the bottom line is he can't stay healthy. He can't play the field, and he just goes through. He will give you fits with his. Sometimes he just swings at balls that you're like, Jesus, I know I could actually have a better at bat, a more competitive at bat than what he just threw out there. I know it. And I've never played a lick of professional baseball. And I know I could have gone up there, put the bat on my shoulder and just watched 3 pitches go by and it would have been a better at bat. Like some of the pitches that guy waves at are unfathomable. The bottom line is when you watch this Yankee team, it's not well constructed. They grounded to more double plays than any team I've ever seen, which, I mean, I guess if you want to see a positive there, okay, they make some contact, but they are reliant on the home run. And because of the ball being what it is this year, they're not hitting home runs. And good teams make adjustments. And good teams, if you look at the well-constructed teams, look at Tampa. You know what? Tampa's lineup doesn't scare you on paper, but that team can string hits together. And that's how you win baseball games. Because hitting the ball out of the ballpark's not happening that much this year. You have to find other ways to win games. Also, the Yankees defense at times has just been horrifying. It's just frightening to watch. It's a real mess out there in every single way. They don't run the bases well. They get thrown out on the bases more than any other team. They ground into more double plays than any other team. They strike out an absolute ton. They do not hit in the clutch at all. And they have the biggest glass jaw of any team I've ever seen. They take one punch early on, and you can sit there and definitively just lean back and say, ball game. It's over. You know it's over. There have been games where I've watched where they get down 1-0 in like the first inning, and I'm like, that's it. And it's in true to form, they lose that game. It's that's why I said in that tweet, they are the most unwatchable team. And they're a very unlikable team too, you know? I mean, there are teams out there with similar records that I would rather watch because at least they're fiery and competitive. The only reason the Yankees are even at or slightly above 500 is just because there is some level of talent on the team. And the talent will take you to a certain level, but only so far. You know, or they could beat up maybe sometimes, not all the time. They could beat up on a really bad team, although don't tell the Tigers that. They're just, dude, it's just a bad team. It's not well constructed. They're not fun to watch. And listen, Aaron Boone's been in this position for a while. Yes. Has he won 100 games? Yes, he has. With teams that were actually more talented and that, you know, were in a whatever era this is with this baseball. I don't know what's going on with the baseball, but I'm not going to make any excuses for the Yankees with the baseball. I kind of couldn't care less about that because there are other teams that are winning games, regardless of the baseball, you know, being de-juiced, I guess would be the unjuiced. I don't know. Anti-juiced. I don't know what the hell the baseball is right now, and I don't care. Bottom line is good teams find ways to win, and this team is not a good team, and they need to move on from Brian Cashman, and they absolutely need to move on from Aaron Boone. My biggest problem is that, to me, again, it's got to be both. It can't just be one. Well, I mean, it could just be one, because if you get rid of Cashman, ultimately, whoever replaces him will probably get rid of Boone and bring in his own guy. But ultimately, bottom line, end of the day, you got to move on from these two guys. They're not. They've had their chance. They've had their run. It has not worked. This team is further away. They are further than they are closer to a championship. Let's put it that way. And as I've said before, there are only 4 guys, literally 4 guys I would keep on this team. I would keep LeMahieu. I would keep Gio Urshela. I would keep Garrett Cole, because, I mean, you have to. And I'd keep Gleyber Torres. And then after that, I kind of couldn't care less. And and you're probably saying, wait a minute, what about Aaron Judge? No, I'm including Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge can go. Aaron Judge has got the most hollow numbers I've ever seen. They're just like, they actually kind of remind me of A-Rod's numbers. When A-Rod would put up big numbers with the Yankees, they were the most hollow numbers. Like, none of them came in the clutch.
These are kind of more, to me, they're more like, I mean, this would need a little bit more in-depth talk about. Like, I need to talk about this a little bit more to be able to give you like the real reason why, but I can give you kind of like a short breakdown. And it seems to me like Aaron Judge's numbers right now are a little bit like Barry Bonds numbers, because he always used to have like 40 home runs and 95 RBIs, and that always used to drive me crazy. Now, granted, that was a lot because of he used to get walked. Whenever anybody was on base, he would get walked.
Yep.
And that's
Right.
just
And
who
if he
he
hit
was.
home runs, they were solo.
And then, yeah, exactly. Or maybe two runs.
Maybe.
But, you know, there is also a thing where Aaron Judge gets walked a lot too on purpose, whether it's intentional or intentional.
Yep.
But he is right now 15 home runs and only 35 RBIs.
Yep.
And the other number that's staggering is he's only got 36 runs scored. Those are not good numbers. I mean, you have, as of right now, he's batting 289. He's got 218 at bats. He's got 36 runs scored. A guy that has been playing terrible this year, a guy that's not, I mean, I won't say terrible. He's been playing under par so far. And that's my man, DJ LeMahieu.
Yeah.
He has, granted, he's got about 30 more at bats, almost 30 more at bats, but he's got like the same amount of runs produced and he's batting 260. So like, there's gotta be something that's going on. It's just, I agree that how about this? I don't agree that I would blow up the team as much as you would, as far as the players go. I think a few key positions could be very, very beneficial. Like, I think getting rid of one, see you later, Giancarlo, because he just clogs up the order. You need to free up that spot. I think that is one of the ones that, as far as the players go, you free up that spot. Now you can have people playing more regularly. Another guy who I can't stand, who strikes out a lot. He didn't used to. He would strike out, but not this much. And that's our other boy, the other Aaron. I am not a big fan of his either. Hicks he's not really playing a ton. He's either hurt.
He's out
or
for the year
he's
now.
either hurt. Yeah, I know. Like, he's either hurt, but that's a guy that you would need to get rid of because he's going to come back up next year and he's going to clog so you got to figure out a way to get out of that contract. And I know it's almost impossible when you're the guy's
4
hurt.
years left on it.
But when there's a guy hurt, you can't really deal him. So you're going to have to wait back,
Right.
hope that he comes back and he's healthy. And then you can part ways with him. So he's another guy that you need to get rid of. You just got to free up because you have people like Florial and those that are going to be coming up soon. And you're going to need those spots in the outfield available. You're going to hope that Frazier continues to grow, but he's one of those guys that's hot and cold. If he's hot, he's ripping the ball. If he's cold, he's going to be an enigma. And you're just going to have to, he's going to be one of those guys. You're just going to have to wait for it. That's it. But you need him in the lineup every day because if you don't have him in the lineup every day, you're never going to get it. So that's one of those things that it's okay to have holes in your lineup from time to time. It's okay. You just need to have those guys in there regularly so they can get out of their slump quicker. And when you keep bouncing people in and out, it's just not going to happen. And that's the reason why I want Giancarlo out, is this way you can hopefully revive, as I've said many times before, Sanchez's career by just making him a DH and letting him focus only on hitting. That's the only way you can revive this guy's career. He can't do both. He's a terrible catcher. He's going to be out of the league in 2 years if they keep him as a catcher because nobody's going to want him. Mm-hmm. And he's going to be 30 years old and they're going to be like, we don't want a crappy catcher. And at that point in time, he's approaching the tail half of his career.
Yep.
And he's not going to be a hitter anymore either. So
right.
You got to make the move and you got to make it now. So this way he still has time because you could get a good 5 years from him if he's batting 275 and hitting 45 home runs with 120 RBIs. That is a great DH that you just slide in there every day, every single day. It happens with a lot of people.
Today is an off day too, I think, right? Like if they were going to make
so.
a move, this would be the day that you make the move, at least in terms of the coach. But I don't see it happening. That's not happening.
Aaron Boone has a little something on the, if you go to the Yankees website, there's something that says there like inconsistent Yankees. What is the thing that it says out there? Boone concerned about New York off to their slowest 65 game starts in 2016. The 33 and 32 Yanks must figure out if we are the team we think we are. It's not figuring it out. You just got to do it now. Like it's not figuring out. Like
Yeah,
if you want to
nothing.
figure it
He's
out,
so soft.
put your lineup out there, give him a talking to. Like this is the lineup. Give him some confidence, and then go.
So, if you recall, when we had this conversation, not long after the season started, when I was already calling for his head, and I feel validated at this point, by the way, because they are basically that same team.
Mm-hmm.
I said at the time I would, whether you thought I was old man yelling at cloud or not, or too little too old school, I said I would replace him with Buck Showalter. I just, for shits and giggles yesterday, I went on to Twitter. And I just did a search for Buck Showalter Yankees, and it was trending heavily. Mm-hmm. And there were, when I say hundreds, because I scrolled through them all, hundreds of comments, people thinking the same way, like bring back Buck. And I felt validated. I really did. Because I was like, I felt like I was just like this old guy.
Well, we've been talking about Buck Showalter for what, a year now?
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, on and off, yes. Yeah. But you know what, dude? I am even more firmly in that camp now than I ever was. And I
have it all in house right now. Buck Showalter as your head coach. Bring in David Cohen as your pitching coach.
Get him out of the booth and put him in the fucking dugout. And yeah, I'd be fine with Cohen as the pitching coach.
Although Cohen has been looking like he's been getting on the sauce a lot lately.
And oh god, he really is. And for God's sakes, get Marcus Timms out of there. Ugh, I can't deal with him either. I can't.
Then bring Paul O'Neill in as the hitting coach. Like, let's go. Let's reinvent the game.
Can you imagine him as a hitting coach?
The
people
guy
would get hurt.
He wouldn't do that to other. No, because he only cared about him. He was mad at himself only.
He was mad at him. Yeah,
you want somebody that's going to get upset at other team. That's Tino Martinez.
That's probably true. Tino probably would.
And he's yoked.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't mind Tito.
Have a co-batting coach.
I just
Tino and Paulie.
And again,
Paulie on the bench. Paulie would be a good guy on that bench.
The one thing again that I want to say about bringing back Buck is, look, there is precedent now. I mean, look what the White Sox did, right? They brought in a guy who everyone was like Tony LaRussa, except for me, because I was like, yeah, they just brought in the greatest manager to ever live, in my opinion.
Yeah.
What's the problem? So what? He's a little older. So far, what's the result? White Sox are a pretty good baseball team, last I checked.
Yeah. Tony La Russa's got that old school, but he's also uses the new school numbers. And
I love it. And that's why listen, Tony La Russa's, I'll say it again. I believe Tony La Russa is the greatest manager to ever live. Mm-hmm. And that's saying something. There's a lot of guys out there, the Miller Huggins of the world, the Earl Weavers. There's a lot of, there are a lot of guys. Okay. Casey Stengel. I mean, I'm guys who have won even way more championships than La Russa did. And I still believe La Russa is the greatest ever. Mm-hmm. So I have, Sparky Anderson. I mean, come on. I mean, there are guys who elite level managers, and I would take La Russa over it.
You're not going to give Francona his due?
What's that?
You're not going to give Francona his due?
Tito?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love him, but I also hate him.
Yeah.
He's that guy I love, but I hate because of who he won them with. God, if you just won him with anyone else, it would have been.
I mean, he's definitely a top 15 guy, probably.
Sure. Probably. Bruce Bochy is probably somewhere in that conversation. Top 20. Top 20. I would say top 20. He won 3 championships. It's not hard though. But he had Mad Bum, so,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and he had Buster Posey. Yeah. That's all he needed.
Yeah. Buster Posey's having a resurgence.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
Catcher and first base.
But this Yankee team is just, like I said, they're unwatchable. They're not likable at all. They're boring too. I mean, it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch.
That's why when I watch, I only watch from like the 6th to 7th inning on. And by then it's usually too late.
Well, right. And I was going to say, that's when they're actually at their worst. Yeah. So.
He's sleepy. They're a sleepy
time to move on. And let's move. And speaking of which,
I will say, I've been very happy with Andujar starting to come back to the old Andujar. I mean, granted, he still never walks, but he's batting like 270. Yeah. He's slow. I mean, he started off super slow.
His power's coming back,
and he's coming back, and I'm very happy to see that because
I like him.
That's a guy you could either find a spot for or have as a trade chip. Another guy right there that you could potentially use as a trade chip. I would get rid of Voit. I would get rid of unfortunately, I'd get rid of Andahar. I would get rid of Stanton. There's a bunch of guys that I would just say, see you later. And then you just need to either bring up some young talent and let's go and bring some youth and energy, like bring up Florial and say, all right, it's go time.
How far are we away from Jason Dominguez? Because I mean, I know, was he like 18? I don't care.
I think he's graduating high school this year.
Right, he's in high school. I mean, like, I don't care. Bring him up. Certainly bring up Florial. Like, there's no reason he should have gone back down.
Yeah,
he should have stayed.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, you can't have a 37-year-old Brett Gardner roaming center field every day. That is just ridiculous. I'm sorry, it is. Again, poorly constructed. Like, I want Brett Gardner to be a bench coach. That's where he belongs on this team.
Yes.
Because at least he's good for that. Like, he's like the anti-cheerleader.
He's another guy that would get in your face.
Yeah,
he has no problem with it.
Right. That's what I like about him.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, dude.
He's got a career in baseball after playing.
Much like we need to move on from this topic, the Yankees need to move on from Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman.
Yeah, I'm with that. I'm with Aaron Boone for sure. I am not. It's either he just doesn't have the cojones to stand up to brass, which is what you need.
Yeah, he's a puppet.
Yeah, and I can't say it's his fault because this is his first job, and that's got to be tough. That's a tough position to be put in.
And it should not have been this job.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so we think I think you should kind of blow up the Yankees. You know, don't start with the manager yet. I think it might be too early to do the manager. Like, manager at the end of the season, bye, go on. If you don't, especially if you don't make the playoffs. If you make the playoffs and you don't, this team should have gotten at least either to the World Series or on the doorstep of the World Series. This is the kind of team that they have. But they are just not performing now unless they flip some sort of switch by the All-Star break and start going bananas.
That's not happening.
That's fine, but as of right now, they haven't shown any signs of it. So
no,
they are
who they are. And listen, at the beginning of the season, I said to you, I thought it was an all or nothing team. Either they were going to win it all, or they weren't even going to make the playoffs.
I still have hopes they're going to turn it around. I don't know what they're going to do, but it was very unfortunate to see Severino come getting helped off the field with his hand.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, it was groin or whatever it was. That was a shot in the arm that we really.
You might as well tack a few more months onto that injury.
I mean, you're looking at least 2 to 6 weeks of sidelined, and then he's got to come back with his arm.
Then he has to resume pitching activity.
He can still. The good news is he can do arm exercises like sitting in a chair and throwing a baseball and things like that, where he doesn't need his groin.
He just can't masturbate for the next couple months because he's just going to be.
How else are you going to keep that arm strength up?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he masturbates righty or lefty. These are details I don't want to go into.
Yeah, you're gonna blow up this show.
Maybe edit that out. Maybe stop talking for a while.
I need to do a little one of these bad boys right here. I don't know if I can hear it though. There we go.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Pump the brakes. All right.
It's like when they, when Ron told Champ, maybe stop talking for a while. Maybe sit this one out. I'm sorry, things get all mixed up in my noggin.
That's a great movie. That will not be on How Is This Actually?
No.
If anything, that would be a How Is This Only.
How Is This Only? Yeah.
That should be like a 99 on Rotten Tomatoes. All right. Let's get into what are we going to talk about next?
Is that the segue for How Is This Actually?
Let me see if I have it. Hold on. Let me see. Yeah, we'll do.
Where do you think you're going? I'm going to sort it out.
Got to get a little graphic for that. All right. So we're going to sort it out because we are going to get into a little bit of. You know what? We were talking about this earlier. We were talking about vaccines and people being unmasked. You don't know if they're vaccinated, all that kind of stuff, blah, 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 blah. And like how we're, in groups and like, especially indoors, we still mask and stuff like that, even though we're not even though we are not vaccinated, I mean, we are vaccinated. You and I are both vaccinated. Got my card right here. If we don't know who is, we both have, like, I have my daughter who has a compromised immune system because she had cardiomyopathy. She had myocarditis, all that kind of stuff as a young child. And she's only 8 years old. She's not able to be vaccinated yet. She's in a trial that we have her getting ready for. But we don't know when that's going to start. So there's still stuff up in the air. So therefore, to protect my family, I still mask and, all that kind of stuff. You are in a similar boat. So we have our reasons for why we mask indoors. Not only that, but I do think it's the right thing to do, especially indoors in close quarters. I mean, there's just not a lot of circulation in a lot of these places. So I think it's just a smart thing to do. Outdoors, I'm a little bit more free with taking my mask off. I play golf. I never wear a mask when I'm golfing, but I rarely get within a few feet. There's one guy, my friend, who I get in close quarters with, but even that, it's usually walking, and we're still 3 feet apart, and we're both vaccinated. So that's kind of where we're at. That's kind of where I'm at. But I go into this package store because after our golf round on Tuesday nights, we always celebrate with a beer, whether we win or lose. We kind of talk about the match, and we just kind of, have like a nice light beer and, chat about it for a few minutes, and wind down a little bit after the match. And I get to, like, because I was texting my friend and I'm like, hey, you going to pick up the beers today, or am I going to get them? I'm on my way by. I can just grab them real quick. He's like, yeah, why don't you do it? Pull into this package store, walk in. I'm wearing my mask in the package store. They have the barriers up at the register and all that kind of stuff, which is great. I go and grab 2 beers out of the cooler, put them on the counter, and the woman's behind the counter is not masked. And I'm like, whatever, she's got the barrier and that's fine. It's her decision. This is America. You can do what you want. That's the great thing about America.
Hey, you cut out there for like a second. I missed after the barrier part. Sorry.
So which part? Did you hear me talk about the woman that was behind the barrier?
No.
Okay, so there's a woman behind the barrier. She's unmasked. Okay. So because she's unmasked, I'm like, okay, that's fine. She's allowed to be unmasked. It's America. You're allowed to. The rules are that you can be unmasked as well indoors. And plus there's a barrier. So we're protected. She just straight up says to me, you don't need to wear a mask anymore. You shouldn't wear a mask. And I looked at her and I go, why? And she's like, because it's bad for your brain. You don't get enough oxygen. It's bad for your brain. I go, that's 100% false. I just looked at her right in the eye. I said, that's just a lie. And she's like, well, no, it's not. I go, well, one, athletes wear much more restricting of oxygen levels in high school, college, professionally, and they train with them to help them prepare their lungs for sports. So that's not right. 2, brain surgeons, when they're working on your brain, have to wear a mask for hours upon hours on a time. Do you think they're going to allow you to wear a mask that's affecting the surgeon's brain to operate on you? Do you think that's okay? She's like, well, it's just one of those things. It's a fear thing. It's a fear thing. Like all the kids are scared and they don't want to take their masks off anymore. I go, they should be scared. We just survived a pandemic. Right. And so I was like, I'm just saying these things to her. I'm like, they should be scared. We survived a pandemic. That's a big deal. That's huge. I mean, not only that, like you're going to look back at this and this is like history in the making. And she's like, I just don't think it's right. You shouldn't wear a mask. And I go, no, this is America. I didn't come at you saying you should wear a mask. You shouldn't come at me saying I shouldn't wear a mask. Both are fine. In this case, as long as you're vaccinated, both are fine. Yep. And like, I left it at that, but like, she kind of just kept on like talking. And I was like, I go to this package store. This is the package store I go to. I really like the guy who owns it. He has a nice palate for wine. I always chat with him about wine and all that kind of stuff. He's even, helped me out.
You should talk to him and tell him that his employees need to shut the fuck up
when
it comes to that shit.
Well, this is what I'm going to give this woman one more chance. Because like I said, I give everybody 2 opportunities. I give everybody a second chance.
You did. You gave A-Rod 2 shots.
I did. I gave him 2 shots. he decided to take 50 shots and inject them all into his ass. And
he took 3 shots.
Yeah. But I try to give everybody a couple of chances, you know, but in this case, I gave you 1 chance. You come at me again, I'm going to blatantly say to her, if you keep doing this, I am going to tell your boss and I'm going to have you fired because there's no reason for me to get harassed about wearing a mask.
About wearing a mask. Yeah.
You don't know my situation at home. And I will tell her, I have a daughter who has cardiomyopathy and therefore I am not going to compromise her at home.
Yeah.
And that I will, and you know, at that point, I'm sure I'm so sorry. I don't know. Right. So you shouldn't yell at people about wearing a mask. Right. You don't know everybody's situation. So I will give her one
like
more chance.
I'm like, I won't mask shame anyone anymore for not wearing them. I did during the pandemic. Like if I saw people, like especially at the dump, even though it was outdoors, but there were signs all over the place that said mask wearing was required.
Yeah.
And if they didn't have one on, well, you know me, I'm a fucking lunatic. So I was just yelling at people, like, put on your fucking mask. I was just screaming through my
If Patriots
mask,
fans were pizzas, they'd be cocksucker supremes.
Anytime Tom Brady walks on the field, you are well within your right to throw a big floppy on that field.
I just wanted to throw masks at these people instead of floppy, you know.
Oh, you censored yourself.
Anyways,
Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, I said dildo. I guess that's the actual technical term for the unit. Anyways, no, I had no problem with yelling at people. But now listen. But now we are in a world where the mask wearing is not required. So I'm not going to yell at people. I'm not going to scream at people. I won't even judge them anymore at this point. I mean, because it's like, look, if you don't want to wear one, you don't have to, especially to your point, if you're vaccinated.
Yeah. And I'm not going to go around and check everybody's cards. I'm trying to trust people. It's tough because I know how many people are out there are untrustworthy.
However, I don't want you coming at me telling me to take it off.
Right.
That's the other side. So here's I actually guess I have not to that extent by any.
It was so good because I felt like on cloud 9 when I was done. Because it was like that woman had no idea what was coming.
You shut her down. She shut down.
She had no idea what was coming. I was like,
yeah.
And like as I'm leaving, she's like, I'm sorry that I just feel like you should not wear a mask. I was like, oh, my wife is a doctor and I trust science, so therefore I'm going to wear a mask.
That's good. That's a good finishing line too. The I trust science.
And then
part, because you're basically telling her, I see that you don't.
Yeah. So I just walked away.
But well, yeah, because she was also probably at that point thinking like, oh fuck, this guy might actually rat me out or something, you know?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I would have had no problem with doing if I were you.
And I will, if she continues.
Yeah, if it happens again, right? So I went to the dump this Saturday. So they moved some things around at the dump, and I swear, it's the same guy there. Every time I pull up, he makes everyone roll their windows down so that he can tell them what's changed at the dump. And this is the third time. Does
he spit on you while he's doing it?
No, but it's the third fucking time in a row that I've got, because I go, it's Wednesdays and Saturdays. Mm-hmm. So I went Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday. So I had gone on a Saturday. He had explained it. Then I went the Wednesday. He explained it. Then I went this Saturday. He makes me roll down the window again. So the second time I got up to him and I get up to him and he just goes like this. He goes, wait, like, I need you to roll your window down. And I'm like, fuck. So I'm like, I go like this to him. I put my mask on and he goes, oh, you don't need to wear the mask. He's like, we're not enforcing that anymore. I looked at him and I go, I ain't wearing this for you or for this dump. I said, I'm wearing it because I have a compromised person at home. Now, was that a little bit of a dick move? Yes, because he didn't know that. But you know what? To your point, I don't want to be told what and what not to do with a mask. Mm. If I want to wear a fucking mask for the rest of my natural born life, I'm going to do it. And if I don't, I won't. It's just that simple. Do I want to get back to a world where mask wearing is not necessary? Yeah, of course. I don't love it. I do it out of necessity. Now, as I told you, before we went on.
Mhm.
I went to Newport this week, and I'm trying to, like, you know, assimilate back into a normal life to some extent, right?
Mhm.
So I went to Newport, went to see a friend who lives out there. She's vaccinated. I had drinks outside at a bar with her and dinner outside at a restaurant with her. And I did go into stores, but every time I went into a store, I wore a mask. When I walked down the streets of Newport, I wore a mask. And I will tell you, I was probably only one of 20 people that had one on. And that was fine. And I had no problem with that because I'm thinking to myself, okay, hopefully these people who are walking up and down the street are vaccinated. But I know, to your point, there were at least a percentage of them that probably were not.
Mhm.
And that's why I wore a mask. But I'm still going to, like, and I had a couple of people look at me, but not really.
Right.
I mean, for the most part,
It's
nobody really gives a
Yeah.
shit, especially Newport is Rhode Island. That's a progressive, you know, area of the country. It's not, you know, so you're going to get a lot of that. But at the same time, like, I will tell you though, man, this country is just jonesing to get back to normal. There was almost, like I said, there was barely anybody with masks on. I was one of the few.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not going to be shamed into not wearing it. You're not. I mean, there is nobody out there who's, because you know what, and I am super confrontational. So I'm like itching. I'm itching for the argument. Like, I'm just waiting for someone to say something to me so I can say, "Fuck you! You have no idea what's going on with my family." You know,
Right.
like
Yeah.
I'm like itching for it. I don't know why. Maybe that's what's going on. Like, maybe that's why at all these sports arenas, you're seeing videos of fights every day. I think people are just so pent up angry. And I think it's both ways.
Yeah.
I think there are people like,
I can see that.
you know, what's her name at the package store there, who's like, you don't need to wear a mask. It's over. It's done with. First of all, it's not over,
Yeah.
by the way. That's
I
another
get it.
that's
I
another
get
conversation
it.
for another day.
Yeah.
But then there are people like me who are like, you're not going to tell me what the fuck to do. You know? So it's like there's a lot of anger, and people are getting knocked the fuck out at baseball stadiums and at NBA games. Like, are you seeing some of these videos? I'm not just talking about the Padres Rockies one. There was one the other day at the Suns Nuggets game. Where's this guy, and where are these guys learning to throw punches like this too?
They all go to CrossFit and UFC camp, like MMA.
Jesus Christ, dude! There was one. Actually, you should look that video up with the Suns and the Nuggets fan.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the Suns fan who just bludgeoned this Nuggets fan, and the Nuggets fan was like bent over like this, like holding his face, like there was blood, obviously, like everywhere, and he was like. And the Suns fan was like propping him up, kind of. It was weird, dude. Like he just connected. Multiple people are angry right now.
Dude, it was jacked.
Yeah. People are angry, man. There's a lot of pent up anger right now. I mean, I get it. We've all gone through this ordeal and this pandemic, but shit, people are fucking mad. People are mad as hell. I mean, I get it. I get that, but like, do you really have to?
The Nuggets versus Suns playoff game on Friday night.
It's one in a string of many incidents that have happened in the NBA recently.
That was super crazy, but unnecessary.
The fan who shot this video says he saw the two Nuggets fans leaving when the Suns fan started taunting them. The Nuggets fan allegedly dumped a beer, which led to the fight.
What I've seen by coming to games, by being a fan, by being a part of this community, is that's not a reflection, anywhere near a reflection of the
I'm gonna have to go
Nuggets
to, like, YouTube
versus
to
Suns
watch this,
playoff game on Friday night.
It's one in a string of.
Oh, you know what? I can probably find it on Twitter, right?
It's a pretty. I mean, dude, that guy connected multiple times. I mean, and that Nuggets fan was like doubled over, holding his face, and the Suns fan.
It looked like the Nuggets fan swung first.
I think he did, but the Suns fan finished it. And the Suns finished off the Nuggets in 4 games too, so he really got the last laugh.
Ooh. Oh, he came back at him.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah. It's pretty violent, right? I mean...
Good Lord. Oh!
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And then you see how the Nuggets fan was just sort of like bubbled over.
Yeah, and then
hanging
he was
over
like
that,
he's like looking at the other guy, Suns in four, and then gives him a quick uppercut too, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, he really.
Ooh.
I mean, I don't know. Bludgeoned might be a little bit too hardcore.
The Nuggets fan did start to walk away and then came back and then started throwing punches again. It's like,
yeah.
I mean,
just take your beating and just go. You've already been embarrassed.
Dude,
enough.
that last one, that uppercut.
Yeah.
Oh, and then he almost clocked that other guy too.
But dude, so imagine what's going to happen when we have football stadiums that are full of people this year.
Yikes.
Dude, this is going to be a record year for fights. It's just going to be a record year.
Yeah.
And everybody's got a fucking camera, so, everyone's got their cell phones recording shit, so.
Yeah, that's no bueno.
Nobody is interested in like breaking up fights. Everyone just wants to record them.
Well, it's tough to get involved. I mean, like.
I know, but like I want to believe that my first instinct in a situation like that would not be to reach for my phone.
Right.
Like I want to believe my first instinct would be to say, "Hey, all right, come on."
Like
guys,
that right there.
Try to separate it.
That right there, I would not. I'd be like waving for some cops or something like that. Like I wouldn't get involved with that. Like that right there is just like those are two grown men who are being idiots and they're punching each other. Like, okay, just let them do that and go. But if it's like someone that's kind of like a defenseless
I guess it depends on how close you are to it. Also,
it depends on how defenseless the person is too. Like,
Yeah.
You don't like if you see a guy hitting a girl or or like some big huge guy attacking like a smaller kid or a smaller guy.
Right.
Like, yeah, then you like try and grab the kid and pull him away and like, just get out of the way. But like, other than that, like, just let it play out. These people are just idiots. They're drunk and they're idiots. Like, just, I'm not going to get myself involved in that. I don't want to get myself hurt. I have a family, so I'm not going to get hurt in most situations like
and
that.
I've seen this thing firsthand. My brother beat the shit out of a Mariners fan at a baseball game once, but that guy deserved it.
Yeah. There's as you were saying, there's just like lots of people that are looking to get out. Like I don't know if you follow Brandon on Darth Vader on like Instagram and stuff like that, but like, you go to these bars and they're like all slammed and packed and dancing and having a good time. And, I just hope that they're all vaccinated. I'm assuming that they are. There's it's just crazy for me because I used to be in that world and but I'm kind of like, man, I am so glad I'm out when I'm out. Cause I could not,
I can't imagine doing that right now.
No, I mean, like there were so many people. And it's like it never happened. Like they're making out on the dance floor, and like it's like
Well, you've seen that extra gum commercial, right? Where like okay, pandemic is over, and now like people are getting back out there, and now you're just seeing like people making out, like in the commercial.
Are they?
Like yeah, I mean it's like it's a weird it's a very sexually charged commercial. Yeah. Like they're both holding their extra gum and they see each other like out in the wild and they just start attacking each other. Like, it's like, oh my God. But like, I mean, yeah, we're in for a very sexually charged post-pandemic environment.
Yeah, we went from having a baby bust to a baby kaboom.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? I mean, I don't know. Bottom line is, as I was explaining it to my wife, like yesterday, I was like, look, half the country's vaxxed, the other half is not. So for the side that's vaxxed, good, great. For the side that's not vaccinated, listen, just let them herd immunity, work it out themselves. They'll infect each other, but then they'll develop the natural immunity, which is, theoretically stronger than the vaccine one, and then we'll all maybe be back to some kind of normal, and then God will weed out the rest who chose not to follow science. How about that?
Yeah.
How ironic for them too, because they, I'm sure they all thought God was going to save them from this, and God provided.
They could always run off the side of the earth.
Yeah, that too. Sure. Yeah, that's right. Sure. It's the same crowd. Listen, I'm not. If you had your reasons for not getting vaccinated, whatever they are, that's fine.
I listened to a YouTube video recently, right? You know Mayim Bialik?
Mm-hmm.
You know, she was
she's a scientist and an actress.
Yeah. And she is kind of an anti-vaxxer. Not really an anti-vaxxer, but she is kind of. Like, she does a lot of herbs-based stuff and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But she actually said that she is getting the COVID vaccine. She's also going to get the flu vaccine this year for her and her children. Because normally the flu, she's like, we kind of just don't get the vaccine and we just kind of take care of ourselves, like, you know, and eat right and all that kind of stuff and try and do it that way and, you know, kind of do it naturally. She's like, because I just don't want to, you know, inject a bunch of, you know, things into our body that we don't even know exactly what's in it.
Yep.
And, you know, that's fine. I will always have to get the vaccine because I'm a diabetic. So therefore, and my kids are going to, you know, most likely get, I mean, that's just how it goes. We believe in the science behind it. But she also said she was going to get the COVID vaccine as well for her and her children, because in this case, science, we need to beat this pandemic. And that's the only way to really do it, is to get the herd immunity. And there are too many cases of healthy people dying. And so she said that she's like, so I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I try and be a little bit more picky, I guess, as she's saying, you know, about it. Like, not like she tries to do her research and then makes her
She's
choice.
a very intelligent person, so that's fine.
Yeah. But you can be intelligent and kooky, and she's a little kooky, but
you know, listen, I'm not going to take medical advice from Blossom or Amy Farrah Fowler or whoever the fuck she plays. I mean, I'm not.
She was great as both.
Yeah, she was.
Although her brother in Blossom, whoa, he definitely stole the show. He stole the show. Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah.
Whoa.
Anyways.
All right. Let's move on. So we did our Karen. We did all that. We can UFOs. Do you want to touch on UFOs, or do you want to end with that, like, kind of on the way out?
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, do you want me to?
We can go from Loki to UFO.
That makes sense. And then we'll do the how is this actually, and then spin the wheel.
Yes, we can do. So we'll do.
I'll be very brief with Loki.
We'll do how is this actually right now.
Oh, okay, fine.
We'll do the Rotten Tomatoes game. If I can find it. Oh, there it is. I found it. Here we go.
Welcome to the Rotten Tomatoes game. How is this actually?
By the way,
all right.
I think we need to remove this from the wheel because there's just not a lot out there that's
makes it tough.
Yeah, it's really tough, but it's very limited.
I like it.
It's just it's limited. It's hard to you got to dig deep.
I started. You know what I did? I went back to the old Cinebros and I started looking at my reviews.
Oh, okay. Well, that's one way to do it.
I was like, ooh, yeah, that movie did suck.
Yeah. And yet somehow it was highly rated.
And somehow it is fresh. So let's go.
I mean, I got a good one, I think. So I feel strong about it.
I think, you know, maybe some point in time when we come up with a different topic, because we have like multiple OFNs on there. We have.
Yeah, I like the OFN thing.
We have like multiple recasts on there. We have multiple Mount Rushmores.
I gave you a new Rushmore, right?
We have 3 up there. We have Mount Rushmore of favorite all-time movie characters.
Yes, that was my brother inspired one. Yes.
College athletes and TV shows with 5 seasons or less.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So those are the ones that we have up there right now. The recast of the movie, we have The Three Amigos and White Men Can't Jump. Those are 2. That's great. Those are great. That's fantastic.
Yep.
That's absolutely fantastic. I almost might know exactly who I'm going to pick for White Man Can't Jump. It just popped into my head now. I'm like, that would be the Wesley Snipes guy. Oh yeah, okay. That he might be a good Woody Harrelson. All right, yeah. So,
I'd have to really think about both of those.
Yeah, could be tough. All right, so let's get into it.
Why don't you lead off? Why don't you do yours first?
The Rotten Tomatoes. All right. we'll get into Rotten Tomatoes game. And what the Rotten Tomatoes game, how is this actually rated as high as it is? We think it should be rated lower.
According to the critics.
According to the critics, we even kind of go into the audience score a little bit too from time to time. In this case, you could really go into both for me because both are a little on the high end when it comes to their score. I'm going to pull up Rotten Tomatoes right now and then make sure that I have the right score on my end. Let's see.
See, in mine, the Tomatoes one was certified fresh, but the audience I agreed with on mine.
Oh, okay. So mine, the critics, 63%.
Okay.
Audience is 61%.
Okay, so in sync.
Pretty much in sync. Yes. Bye.
Walked right into that.
It is a 2 hour and 30-minute movie from 2015.
Already too long.
And it is definitely, in my opinion, probably the worst of the franchise with this guy.
Okay.
And that is Daniel Craig as 007 Spectre.
Okay.
And it had the opportunity in front of it to be so good. Like the initial sequence at the beginning, so much fun, lots of blowing up, big chase scene, it was just high energy.
Mm-hmm.
But talk about the ultimate letdown of all time. And that's Christoph Waltz, who is an amazingly talented actor.
Yep.
And extremely underutilized as a villain to the point of where
That's a bingo.
This movie sucked. Like, it was bad. It was not even close to a good movie. You know, you have just in general, the way that he kind of went back and forth with all of the other characters, whether it was the Bond girl, Q, or like any of the, like, it just was just kind of bland. And it's like he had no chemistry with anybody. It was horrible. It was just a terrible, terrible movie. And on the Cinebros, I gave it a 5 out of 10. And I actually would probably think that might be even a little bit lower than that. You know, time removed, you know, you get a little bit either more clarity or whatever. And I think it actually might be a little bit worse than that. I think I might have been generous with my 5 out of 10. So I'm going to say the 63%. How is this actually 63%? The movie was not good and is probably the worst of his franchise as James Bond. And he even was out this time, like promoting the movie and saying like he would rather slit his wrists than play James Bond again. And he said all those things, like you could tell he did not want to be there. But you know what? He's made more since. So
yes, he has.
I don't know. I haven't seen the last one. I don't even know if it's come out yet.
Yeah, $25+ million per flick will make you change your mind pretty quickly.
Yeah.
My movie is actually also from 2015. It is an hour shorter than yours.
Wow.
And this is one where I'm questioning the critics heavily, and I'm completely with the audience. This one came in at 81%, certified fresh.
Wow.
With 105 reviews. And 50,000 plus ratings of the audience scored it at 54%. So I'm with the audience. And it was a movie that I was very excited about because, you know, I'm a big kid and I also live vicariously through my kids too. And that movie was the SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water. And this was a movie that I was so excited for because I love SpongeBob. I love the SpongeBob humor. There's great adult humor that's built into SpongeBob. I just love the regular cartoon. I could kind of do without these movies, to be honest.
Yeah.
They don't do anything for me. Well, I don't like, you know, like because they're, you know, large, you know, cinematic, you know, movies now, they change up the animation, you know, and they make it that more like Pixar-ish kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like, but again, SpongeBob is just more classic animation. Like, if you want to make movies with SpongeBob, just keep them like that. Actually, there is an original SpongeBob movie before this one that is just the regular animation. I don't even remember if that one was any good or not. Off the top of my head, I don't think it was anything special. But, I mean, this movie made good money, grossed $163 million, which is pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what its budget was, but
I don't have a review for this one, I don't think.
All I know is like Antonio Banderas played like this burger beard character.
Yeah.
And like he stole the Krabby Patty recipe or something like that, and like SpongeBob and Plankton, who are mortal enemies, have to team up to
When did it come out?
Recipe 2015.
But when? Like at the end of the year, or the beginning of the year? Do you know? I mean, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't say on here. It doesn't say here. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. Maybe February 6th.
Oh, so the beginning of the year. Okay.
Yep.
I thought I did one, but I think I did it with Cam, and I ended up not being able to post it. Like me and my wife were kind of like, maybe not.
Yeah. So I haven't even seen the second one yet, which I know was in theaters, but then also available exclusively like on Paramount Plus, which I don't have. So
yeah, they're not bad.
I just like this movie just didn't do anything for
Definitely
me.
not an 81.
A lot of the critics like made a lot of comparisons because of the pace of the movie to like Looney Tunes, and I was like, that is just blasphemous. Get that shit out of here. That's sacrilege. I don't want to hear any comparisons to Looney Tunes of any kind.
I like it.
And I love SpongeBob. I have a SpongeBob. I have 2 SpongeBob t-shirts. Own 2 t-shirts.
I'm favoriting that comment.
Timothy
St. Andrew. So you're saying the movie isn't sponge-worthy?
It's not sponge-worthy at all. It's not. It's not sponge-worthy. It's it's just not good. So I would pass. Sponge out of water.
All right. Yeah, I'm definitely putting Spectre up there. You were putting SpongeBob, Sponge out of water. Both.
Actually, I'm glad Timmy's on here because I want him to maybe weigh in on the UFO thing if he wants to.
Right.
Actually, I don't want to misquote this. If we're gonna are we gonna talk about UFOs? We do that now, and then
we're gonna do that before Loki.
Oh yeah, I guess we could do Loki first. We'll do UFOs on the way out.
All right, Loki it is. So we'll continue with our sorts.
Yeah. So
Loki.
I watched it. You did not, right?
I did.
Oh, you did watch it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
I watched it Wednesday night.
Okay.
And the Rotten Tomatoes score, a 96 for the critics.
Accurate.
87,
Accurate, in my opinion.
87 for the average audience score.
I would be closer to the 96.
I'm with you. I think it was great. I thought it was brilliant.
It really was. It was great. It's off to a really
and
good
it
start.
really gets you like my son was having a hard time with it because he was like, well, what's going? I don't understand. I was like, this is basically saying you have no free will.
Right.
And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, everything that you do is planned out. It's all destiny. Like it's all destined to happen no matter what you do. It's doing it because it was planned. And he's like, what? Huh? Like his is like not like brain got into a complete knot. He's like, wait, what? I was like, yeah, because that's a whole thing. Like that's a thing that's out there. Is like, do you have free will or is it, is it all destined to take place? And that's how it's going to happen.
I loved it. I loved the way it was done. I loved the like 70s feel of the TVA.
Yeah.
Just like it was they're so good at this stuff. And it had like that WandaVision-ish kind of feel to it a little bit in certain ways. And like just sort of the way it was kind of filmed.
I thought it was so much better. Yeah.
But so far off the bat, like of the 3 between this, Winter Soldier, Falcon, and then WandaVision, this is my first favorite initial episode.
You know what I didn't see coming
of these 3
was when they went into slow-mo when she whacked him in the face. And I did not see that coming where she was going to pop into the screen and was like, you just got slowed down to 1/16. I was like,
but you're feeling all the pain.
Yeah, you're feeling all the pain in real time.
That's great.
I was like, oh my God, that's awesome.
It was great. It was great. And I loved when he got like the loop thing and he was messing with her. And
Yeah,
she was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Stop.
We probably shouldn't get into too many spoilers, but
Yeah, no, it was.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It's fun. I completely agree with the 96%. I can't wait for the rest of the season. And Loki is, hey, we did our Mount Rushmore of Marvel characters. Loki was on mine, so
yeah, definitely a wife favorite. That's for sure.
It was good, and my wife watched it too. I watched it, so I watched it once on my own, and then I watched it with her, and she really enjoyed it too.
Yeah,
so.
I watched it by myself, and then Cameron and Christine watched it on Friday night.
Yeah. It's solid, dude.
Yeah.
I
was very, very happy with the first, and there wasn't a lot of action or anything. And I love the way love the way they teased it at the end, leading into what's going to transpire. And I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see how this plays out.
My big takeaway from it too is, wow, how much could the TVA play into future Marvel Universe films now?
I know.
A lot of MCU stuff will include that going
That was
forward.
fun.
So
that was a lot of fun.
That's a great addition to the MCU there.
Yes,
so,
I thought it was
very
well done. Now, I'm very much in agreement with the critic score. I think the average audience score is a little low, but
a little low, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Overall, very good, very solid, very solid.
Yep. Yes, indeed.
All right, let's get into it. UFOs.
Well, my only reason for wanting to
touch in on this a little bit, like give me a little bit of background, because I'm not exactly sure what 100% you're talking about.
Okay, so back in December,
yes.
When Congress passed the coronavirus relief bill there, built into that was actually a stipulation that required the Department of Defense and the Office of the Director of National Intelligence to deliver an unclassified report on UFOs to Congress within 6 months. And we are now approaching that 6-month point. June is the time that supposedly this report is going to come out. Now, from what I understand, the report is not really going to contain anything definitive. I mean, if you're looking for something in this report that says, yes, we have confirmation that aliens exist, you're not getting that. That's not happening. That is not even remotely close to it. We know the government isn't going to pull the curtain back that far. What I do believe the report will contain is something that says I think the report will basically say, look, there are things out there that are not ours. They could be adversarial. They could be Chinese. They could be Russian. But the bottom line is there are things out there that move in ways that we certainly don't have the technology to produce. And so this, of course, then gets into this, centuries, decades long debate of what are UFOs? Are they us? Are they adversary? Are they alien? Are they extraterrestrial? Now, look, the child in me, and even just the adult in me, just wants to believe that these are absolutely fucking aliens. That this is some ET phone home, little green men, whatever.
Yeah.
I have always been on that. I have always been firmly in that camp, and I always will be. In my lifetime, do I think I'll ever know? Probably not. Not definitively. But will I always believe that? Yeah, of course. I mean, look, we live in a really, really big fucking universe, a really big galaxy, a really big solar system. Hell, on our own planet, which is 75% ocean, we have only discovered 10% of that. So imagine what we haven't discovered beyond our own planet if we haven't even discovered a tenth of our own ocean. We don't even know what lurks below the sea in our own ocean. I mean, so how do we have a grasp for what's really out there? And also, isn't it just like isn't it pretty arrogant to think that we're alone? That we humans are the be all end all of existence? Come on. I mean, we know there are life on other planets. That we know. I mean, plant life, stuff like that. We know that there is that sort of life on other planets. But is it really? And those are planets that we could actually either travel to or send, rovers to. But there are galaxies beyond our current solar system. And we haven't even come close to touching those or even seeing them with telescopes.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we can't grasp the idea of aliens. I think it's just because people don't want to get their eyes rolled at. Whereas I've never been a person who cares about getting his eyes rolled at. In fact, I kind of like having my eyes rolled at me from time to time. I think it's, but listen, it's like the God thing, right? You either believe or you don't, right? I mean, we don't know. We really don't know. That's
where I'm at. I have no idea. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna pretend
and
to know.
that is a completely fair take on it. I don't know. I mean, none of us really know.
Right.
I'm in the camp of yes, I believe that, and I do think that whatever these things are, listen, if we don't have the technology, and again, not to be like, yay, America, we're the best, we're ahead of everyone kind of thing. But if we don't have a technology even remotely close to what these Navy pilots are seeing, how could Russia and China be that far ahead? I mean, to see the kind of things that they see, no propulsion, I mean, just able to stop on a dime, move, I mean, left to right. This is why. So if Timmy Tim is still there, what I wanted him to weigh in on, I just want to make sure I'm getting the story accurate, because I think Timmy Tim was out walking his dog, I think one day, and he called me either that day or the next day. And he happened to be walking Bert is his dog. Bert's awesome, by the way. He happened to be walking his dog. I think it was at night. And I think he looked up in the sky. He saw something there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it just was kind of like floating. It's a light. And then it just shot straight up and like was gone. I think if I'm not getting that story accurate, Timmy, please weigh in. But that's what I remember, though.
Okay.
And I have seen some stuff like that out here in the country. We see some weird shit out here. Actually, I've definitely seen a few UFOs in my time. And again, I'm not telling you I've seen an alien. I'm telling you I've seen some things in the sky that move in ways that airplanes don't. That's all I'm telling you. That's what a UFO is. It's literally an unidentified flying object. I'm sorry. Now it's UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon, because that's how you separate the kooks from the scientists, apparently. So if you've seen one of those,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't mean that you're insane. It just means you've seen something that you can't explain. Now, do I happen to believe that they are piloted by aliens? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. 100%. I do.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. I do.
I
think that shit's out there.
I think you'd be foolish to think that we are alone.
Alone. Yeah.
I have no idea if they would care, give two craps about who we are, like why or what. But
let's say that these things have been entering our airspace for decades, and they have that kind of technology. And if they were hostile, would we just be dead by now?
Yeah, they might be waiting to be like, they're kind of ruining that planet.
Well, I guess the thing that does this is why the government got involved.
But maybe they're like, they're kind of ruining that planet, but they seem like they're trying to fix it. So let's see what happens.
Well, so that I think the government involvement is basically built around the fact that a lot of these things are showing up over.
Maybe they do it like beep, bop, beep, beep, bleep, bleep, bop.
They're showing up over, military kind of, whether it's aircraft carriers or whether it's military bases. So place where we have weaponry. That's the thing that's freaked the government out, and that's why the government has looked into it. But I mean, I'm sorry, if you don't believe that, if you think we're really the only ones out there, I think that's the crazy take, to be honest.
Yeah.
We don't even know. I mean, it's not even a big deal to go to the moon. You can still see Earth from the moon. And that's how far away. Imagine what else is way beyond that. Come on. Come on, man. I don't know. I can't fathom people not thinking that there's something else out there. It seems alien to me to think that way. But I'm excited in a little bit to see if the report, but from what I'm understanding of the early reports on the report, it's not going to be anything earth shattering. It's just going to basically say, yeah, there's some stuff out there. We kind of can't really explain the movement, but so what did Timmy say? I think they are aliens, but I don't think aliens are in them. I think they are their ultra high tech versions of drones/rovers. Oh, okay. That makes sense. So you're seeing the aliens' remote controlled drones that they're sending out to observe us. That's a fair take too.
Mm-hmm.
But they're being controlled by the mothership. I just can't wait for like an Independence Day, when they actually do kind of just like show up over all of our major metropolises and, basically like in Los Angeles, they're going to just say, please, a reminder to Los Angelinos not to fire your weapons at the spacecraft. Seriously, please don't shoot at those things.
What are you doing?
See, now that I will tell you would be like, okay, if these things, like if there were ever big motherships over cities, then we got a problem. Right now, if like if to Timmy's point, it's just some drones or whatever, okay, that's fine. If they're going over big cities and just like hovering, yeah, it's not what you want.
Joe Girardi, he's an alien. All right, so that's pretty much it for our show today. We'll end it on that, and let's get on a little dirty 808 here. So we will end our show on a high note because aliens are very high.
I agree with Timmy's last quote. I mean, let's be honest. If you saw the BS going on here, would you want to visit in person? No, I would stay as far away from this planet as possible.
You sure you don't think it's like Men in Black?
The MIB?
Like Donald Trump's an alien? How bad can I mess up this country?
Well, we found it fit to vote that alien in.
If I can get them to vote for this guy, then maybe they don't deserve it.
Right, exactly. They're judging us. Rightfully so.
They're just this is their TV show. Like we're like the Kardashians.
Yeah.
Like they're just kind of watching. Hey, how can we mess up their country a little bit more? Let's see what we can do. It's scripted, but not. It's real life, but not. Today.
Isn't that like an episode of The Simpsons, right?
Probably.
Where the aliens in The Simpsons
probably
we're basically there for their entertainment.
Probably.
There's like
4,000 episodes of Simpsons. I have not watched all of them.
Good call.
All right. Thank you for watching. You can find me on Twitter at Einhornisfinkel.
We got to spin the wheel.
Oh yeah, that's right. Where can you find you?
Oh, okay. Well, you can just find me on Twitter at _Bry_man.
And now we'll head over to that wheel. The wheel of destiny. And we will spin it. Ready?
It sounds a lot more epic than it really is.
Oh wait, you know what I gotta do? Before I do that, I gotta do this first.
You gotta put it on the screen.
Yeah.
I was trying to tap along with the music.
Yeah.
A drum beat.
There you go. I got the drum beat back. All right, here we go. Spin the wheel of ideal, or spin the wheel of, what is it called? Destiny.
What is it?
The wheel of destiny.
Oh yeah.
What we got?
Destiny.
Oh! Recast the movie. White Men Can't Jump.
Oh wow! How's that for serendipity, huh? You mention it, and there it goes. Now we gotta do it. Damn.
I'll go up.
I'm gonna have to.
So you don't think I'm lying?
I believe you. I was never questioning it.
Yeah, buddy. That's awesome.
Wow. All right. Okay.
Recast the movie, White Men Can't Jump. All right, I'm excited for that. You can find the show on Twitter at Shane and Bryman. And you can find it on Facebook at facebook.com/Shane and the Bryman. And we will be back hopefully next Monday. Mondays are getting to be a little difficult, but we will see what we can do and make it happen. And I am excited for White Men Can't Jump, that's for sure. That's a classic movie. So good.
Which one? I'm sorry. Oh, yes.
White Men
yes.
Can't Jump.
Oh,
So
yeah.
So good.
So wait, are we doing two main characters and like Rosie Perez's character? Or?
I think we can look into it. You know, you can pick like, you know, anywhere from like 3 to 5 characters. I think that's, you know.
Okay.
Have a little fun, go a little deeper just to kind of like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to kind of have a little fun with it.
But the focal point's going to be those two.
Yeah. Those three, really. Those three are like the main.
Yeah, those three.
Points.
Yeah, those three.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be tough.
I wonder, you know what?
It's going to be tough.
My cousin Vinny would probably be a good one too. It'd be tough. It'd be tough to. That'd be tough.
Yeah, that would be really tough.
That'd be a tough one. So I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. We'll
you were serious about that?
All right. We'll see you Monday. Peace. We out.
Wait a minute. We've
Nope,
reached the end
we're
of our
done.
show. And to quote Tony Stark, part of the journey is the end. Then stay classy, play it, bye. Next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.